Donald Trump is running out of time to find $464 million. The former president has until Monday to pay the massive judgment against him in this civil fraud trial to his business empire. Judge Engoron now asking the Trump organization to keep the court closely informed about any efforts to come up with the money. But this morning, the former president says he has a big portion of it in cash, writing on Truth Social, quote, "Through hard work, talent, and luck, I currently have almost $500 million in cash." I want to bring in NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard and former federal prosecutor Glenn Kirshner. So, Vaughn, deadline on Monday. It's Friday. How are efforts to secure that money going?
First of all, Jose, that Truth Social post that you just read that we all woke up here to this morning completely undercuts what Donald Trump's own attorneys wrote to an appeals court on Monday in asking them to effectively stay and effectively delay him having to put forward that type of cash or the appeal bond, because in that filing earlier this week, his attorney said that they do not have the liquid cash available and that each of the surety companies they're going to seeking the appeals bond are not willing to use his properties as collateral. But then Donald Trump here claiming this morning that he's got almost $500 million of cash on hand. Of course, what is truth? We are not sure here at this time. But Monday is his deadline to post that appeal bond. And we already saw yesterday Attorney General Letitia James file an initial judgment in a county just north here of Manhattan that would be really kind of the first process towards beginning to seize his assets and properties, particularly in that county, which includes Seven Springs Estate, as well as his Trump National Golf Club. This, for Donald Trump, is going to be coming down to the 11th hour. We will wait to see whether the appeals court will grant him that delay in having to put either the cash or the appeals bond forward. But right now, Attorney General Letitia James has made it fully clear that come Monday, she intends to begin going through the courts to begin to seize his properties and other assets, Jose.
So, Glenn, how does it work? Because there's the legal side and then there's the, I guess, public relations side. Glenn, if on one day your lawyers are saying to the court, we don't have that kind of cash, and then a couple of days later you say publicly, I have that kind of cash plus a few tens of millions more, does that matter?
You know, it matters to Judge Engoron because it looks like he wants more information about the representations that were put in a court filing just a matter of a few days ago by Donald Trump's lawyers. And, Jose, you have to believe that those representations in that court filing were authorized by Donald Trump. Do you really think he would want to put in the public square, particularly when he's campaigning for elected office, that he doesn't have the cash, that nobody will step up and do business with him and give him a bond sufficient to secure the entire amount of that massive money judgment such that he can appeal it without having to pay out? Do you really think he would have put all that in the public square if he had $500 million in cash? So there are a couple of possibilities. Somebody wasn't being straight in the court filing. Somebody's not being straight in his new Truth Social post saying, oh, I just found $500 million of liquid assets. Or maybe somebody just gave Donald Trump $500 million. If that is so, boy, it's going to be really interesting to see where it came from and what kind of leverage the person or entity who gave that money might end up having over Donald Trump.
And then, Vaughn, meanwhile, Trump is also still raising money from supporters for legal fees. How's that going?
Right. We have seen his campaign, number one, overwhelmed by the Biden campaign in terms of political fundraising. But then you've also seen over the course of the better part of the last year a great amount of financial resources coming from his leadership PAC, the Save America PAC, more than $80 million going towards legal-related expenses. And when his team effectively took over the RNC here this month, it was made clear, including to me, that the RNC would not be spending any money to cover Trump-related legal bills. Well, we now have learned, I've obtained what is a donation form for this new fundraising committee. This is a joint committee between the Trump campaign and the RNC. This is typically how it's done. The Biden campaign also has a joint fundraising committee with the DNC. Donald Trump did this very thing back in 2020 and 2016 as well. But what is notably different this time around, according to this new donation form, is the fact that an individual individual's contribution. The first $5,000, I should say the first $6,600, will go toward the Trump campaign. The next $5,000 will go to the Save America Leadership PAC, which has been used to cover the legal bills. Then after that, the money then goes to the RNC. So while technically the RNC will not be covering legal bills for Donald Trump these next 7 months, before any money gets to the RNC, there's $5,000 of any contributor's money will first go to the Save America PAC, which has historically in the last months been covering Donald Trump's legal bills, Jose.
And so, Glenn, just thinking back on what you said about the possibility that this $500 million that the former president says he has in cash maybe have come from, I don't know, somewhere else. Another option for Trump could come from Truth Social. The company could go public as early as Monday. How could he use that money to pay the judgment, or could he?
I'd be really surprised if that came through in a way that was instantly accessible to Donald Trump. There are some rules and regulations about not being able to immediately sell off those kind of assets after the merger. I'm not an expert in that field, Jose, but here's what I come back to. If Donald Trump knew and was confident of the fact that he was about to come into $3 billion as a result of this merger with Truth Social and another media corporation, then it seems to me he would not have had his attorneys go on record just a few days ago, not even mention it and say he has no prospect of being able to put up enough money to perfect his right to appeal without paying out. Those two things don't sort of coexist comfortably in my mind. So I would be very surprised if all of a sudden this merger resulted in a windfall to Donald Trump such that he now had the assets to put up.
Vaughn Hilliard and Glenn Kirshner, thank you both for being with us on this Friday. Really appreciate it.